Hey Top 10ers, what's going on? I'm your host Joss. Welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. We're giving you guys bonus content at the end of each video now, so make sure you stick around for that. And don't be shy, you can find us outside of YouTube. Our social media links are down below in the description. If you're an animation fan, then you are obsessed with the magic that Disney and Pixar have created. But some of your favorite Disney movies might look a little different depending on where you are in the world when you're watching it. Just kind of a weird thought, and maybe you didn't even know that this was a thing. Sometimes there are changes in a movie to better suit a country for their international release. Let me explain some of these changes to you with today's list of top 10 Disney movies that were changed in other countries. Starting off our list at number 10 is Inside Out. In the US, it's well known that broccoli is a vegetable that most kids stay away from. So when picking a vegetable that little Riley didn't want to eat during one scene, it makes sense that they would pick broccoli. It is pretty much the standard green vegetable that kids don't like. However, test audiences in Japan didn't understand why she would be rejecting a vegetable that is so popular in their culture. Broccoli is actually really popular in Japan, even by kids. It's actually a big part of their culture and food. So if you watch the movie in Japan, you would see that they switched the broccoli in the scene to green peppers, because peppers are a more controversial food over there. And for the record, I think broccoli is equally hated over here in Canada too. I love broccoli now, but as a kid, it was pretty much torture. Like, I thought my parents hated me because they were giving me broccoli all the time. Up next, number 9 is Toy Story 2. In the second movie, Buzz makes this big motivational speech to the rest of Andy's toys, trying to inspire them during their search for Woody. The original version of the movie shows Buzz standing in front of an American flag while he's giving his speech, with the national anthem playing in the background. You know, for this big extra dramatic effect. However, when it came to the international release, they replaced the American flag with a globe, and the background music was called One World Anthem. They figured that it might not have the same effect in other countries if it was focused on the American unity, and it is the perfect solution really. Rather than changing the flag and anthem to match every country for individual releases, just use a worldwide option. But why didn't they do this from the start, is my question. Coming in number 8 is Zootopia. First things first, we would know the movie as Zootopia because that is what it is called in the original version, which was released in the US, Canada, and France. However, the title was actually changed to Zootropolis for the UK release. But there were even more changes in the actual movie itself. In the original movie, we met the animal news anchors, a snow leopard and a moose who drinks out of a mug with a Canadian flag on it. Go Canada. However, different animals were swapped into their place in other versions of the movie. For example, in the New Zealand and Australian version, he is a koala bear, which is the most obvious choice. In Brazil, he is a jaguar named Boi Cha, and in Japan, he is a Japanese raccoon dog. And in China, the reporter is an unnamed panda. It's also important to note that they picked different actors that suited the international characters better for each animal. That is a lot of work to make so many changes, so we gotta give them a round of applause for that. Sliding into the number 7 spot is Monsters University. In the American version of the movie, Randall bakes cupcakes and decorates them with different letters to spell out the phrase, "Be my pal." And Mike comes by riding the scare pig and accidentally bumps into Randall and the cupcakes go flying. They end up landing on Randall's face and the letters form the word lame. Clever joke on Disney's behalf, but apparently they felt like this joke would get lost in translation for the international releases, so they ended up changing the cupcake decorations from the letters to smiley faces. It took away from the initial joke, but cupcakes landing on someone's face will always make a kid laugh. So I guess it still works. And it makes adults laugh too. At number 6 is Planes. They decided they wanted to make a change for the different international releases to better suit each country. The original hero in the movie is a Canadian lady plane named Rochelle. Of course, us Canadians would be thrilled thinking that they picked a Canadian to take on that character design, but there are actually 11 different variations of the plane depending on what country you're watching it in. For Brazil, she was Carolina, for Russia she was Tanya, and for Germany she was Heidi. Each plane had her own special color and design as well, so it wasn't just a simple name change. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Ratatouille. If you've seen the movie, then you would already know that it takes place in Paris, France, which makes the culture throughout the film very important. There are different languages available for the film, but there's one version that got a little bonus translation. You know the scene in the movie when Remy the rat reads a letter? It appears in English in the original version, but in the French version of the movie, the letter is actually written in French. Instead of there just being French subtitles, they wanted the letter itself itself to be written in French to add to that Paris culture. It seems like a very small detail, but when it comes to a French-inspired movie, it only makes sense, and I am sure the French audiences appreciated that. Here we are number 4 with Wreck-It Ralph. The movie introduced players in the game called Sugar Rush, one of them being a green-haired girl named Minnie Zeki. The different characters have themes, and hers is mint and candy apple. Kind of weird flavors, but I think it would actually taste good. That's not really important though. Her name is a tribute to a famous Japanese animator, Hayao Miyazaki, which is why it surprised people when she got axed when it came to the Japanese version of the film. She was replaced in the Japanese version with a character named Minnie Zakura, who looks completely different. You would think the Japanese culture would appreciate the reference, but it is what it is. Alright guys, at number 3 is the movie Cars 2. In this movie, the audience was introduced to what some say is the greatest race car to ever exist, Jeff Gorvette. He first became known at the Tokyo welcome party, and in the American version of the film, he is a yellow race car with stars and stripes decal on the side, and he was voiced by the professional race car driver Jeff Gordon, which is pretty cool. Get it? Jeff Gorvette? Corvette? Yeah, that's funny. But this car varies in different versions of the film, all the way down to the voice actors. The Spanish film has a blue car with red and yellow stripes called Fernando Alonso, and the Chinese film has a red car with a big yellow star on it named Long G. There's a whole list of different versions, but what makes it so interesting is that they only vary in that one scene at the Tokyo party. I'm not sure why. Taking the number 2 spot on our list is Up. You would probably never catch on to any of these changes because you were too busy trying to see through all of your tears. It is a minor detail that was changed from the original version of the film to a different international option. Back when Carl and Ellie were just kids, they started a change jar to collect money to fund their dream trip to Paradise Falls. One thing they've always bonded over was their love for adventure. Ellie creates a label for the jar and writes Paradise Falls, pretty straightforward, and they both start adding change to the jar as life goes on. But in other countries, the jar is labeled differently and was actually a drawing of the falls. What's the point of this? It's easier for non-English speakers to understand what the meaning of the jar was without subtitles. Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Coco. I made this number 1 because it is hilarious. If you haven't seen it, the movie is filled with a bunch of fun characters and music. The title Coco refers to the character Miguel's great-grandmother, Mama Coco, which is why it might surprise you that the movie got a totally different title when it was released in Brazil. Rather than being called Coco, it was actually called Viva, a V by Uma Festa, which means cheers, life is a party. So what is with the change of the title? Turns out that in Portuguese, the word Coco has a very different meaning, and it actually stands for poop. Because the title changed, they had to change the name of Mama Coco, for obvious reasons, so they changed her name to Lupita. It was a simple name change that had a whole lot of impact because you cannot name a Disney movie after a pile of poop. Alright guys, that is our list for today. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below for a chance of being featured in my next video. Speaking of which, let's do some comment shoutouts. Gabriel Solomon 111 says, Jocelyn, you look very pretty, and may Lucy recover so she will be fine. Well, thank you. I'm actually here to report that Lucy is feeling much better now. Speedy Turtle says, you are great, love watching you, very honest. Are you being honest, or are you calling me honest? I mean, I like to think that I'm honest. As Lizzo would say, truth hurts. Bryson Olsen says, I feel her at 0.29 seconds. I hate people. Dogs over people any day. People suck. Michael Dunn says, outtakes were awesome. Well, there is more where that came from, Michael. Just stick around for one more minute to catch the bonus content, you guys, and make sure you guys subscribe and hit that notification bell before you go. I'm your host, Joss, and I will see you in the next one. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. That's our opening song. Dun, 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 dun. something like that. Are these long legs? I want another gummy worm. They name one Jocelyn and make it orange. Lady plane. How do you say that? Like a female plane? A lady plane? What is that noise? Is that a rat? That was literally like a sound of a mouse. Remy! Where's Remy the rat? Yeah, that was sketchy, man. Where them mice at? 3 blind mice. 3. Okay, I'm not even gonna sing it. Oh wow.